Review of the journey from Egypt to Jordan. These are the journeys of the sons of Israel, by which they came out of the land of Egypt by their armies, under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. Moses recorded their starting places according to their journeys by the command of the Lord, and these are their journeys according to their starting places. Now they journeyed from Rameses in the 1st month, on the 15th day of the 1st month. On the day after the Passover the sons of Israel started out boldly in the sight of all the Egyptians, while the Egyptians were burying all their firstborn whom the Lord had fatally struck among them. The Lord had also executed judgments against their gods. Then the sons of Israel journeyed from Rameses and camped in Succoth. They journeyed from Succoth and camped in Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. Then they journeyed from Etham and turned back to Pi-hahiroth, which faces Baal-zephon. And they camped before Migdol. They journeyed from Pi-hahiroth and passed through the midst of the sea to the wilderness. And they went 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham and camped at Marah. They journeyed from Marah and came to Elim. And in Elim there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. They journeyed from Elim and camped by the Red Sea. And they journeyed from the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. They journeyed from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dophkah. They journeyed from Dophkah and camped at Alush. And they journeyed from Alush and camped at Rephidim. Now it was there that the people had no water to drink. And they journeyed from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. They journeyed from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibroth-hattaavah. They journeyed from Kibroth-hattaavah and camped at Hazeroth. They journeyed from Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. They journeyed from Rithmah and camped at Rimmon-Perez. They journeyed from Rimmon-Perez and camped at Libnah. They journeyed from Libnah and camped at Rissah. They journeyed from Rissah and camped in Kealathah. They journeyed from Kealathah and camped at Mount Shepah. They journeyed from Mount Shepah and camped at Harada. They journeyed from Harada and camped at Makheleth. They journeyed from Makheleth and camped at Dahath. They journeyed from Dahath and camped at Terah. They journeyed from Terah and camped at Mitkah. They journeyed from Mitkah and camped at Hashmonah. They journeyed from Hashmonah and camped at Moseroth. They journeyed from Moseroth and camped at Ben-Jaakan. They journeyed from Ben-Jaakan and camped at Hor-Haggidgad. They journeyed from Hor-Haggidgad and camped at Jotbathah. They journeyed from Jotbathah and camped at Abrona. They journeyed from Abrona and camped at Zionshba. They journeyed from Zionshba and camped in the wilderness of Zin, that is, Kadesh. They journeyed from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor, at the edge of the land of Edom. Then Aaron the priest went up to Mount Hor at the command of the Lord, and died there in the 40th year after the sons of Israel had come from the land of Egypt, on the 1st day in the 5th month. Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. Now the Canaanite, the king of Arad who lived in the Negev in the land of Canaan, heard about the coming of the sons of Israel. Then they journeyed from Mount Hor and camped at Zalmonah. They journeyed from Zalmonah and camped at Punon. They journeyed from Punon and camped at Oboth. They journeyed from Oboth and camped at Abarim, at the border of Moab. They journeyed from Ion and camped at Dibon-Gad. They journeyed from Dibon-Gad and camped at Armindablathaim. They journeyed from Armindablathaim and camped in the mountains of Abarim, before Nebo. They journeyed from the mountains of Abarim and camped in the plains of Moab, by the Jordan opposite Jericho. They camped by the Jordan, from Beth-Jeshimoth as far as Abel-Shittim, in the plains of Moab. Law for possessing the land. Then the Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan opposite Jericho, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel and say to them, When you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from you, and destroy all their idolatrous sculptures, destroy all their cast metal images, and eliminate all their high places. And you shall take possession of the land and live in it, for I have given the land to you to possess it. You shall maintain the land as inheritance by lot according to your families. To the larger you shall give more inheritance, and to the smaller you shall give less inheritance. Wherever the lot falls to anyone, that shall be his. You shall pass on land as an inheritance according to the tribes of your fathers. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from you, then it will come about that those whom you let remain of them will be like thorns in your eyes and like pricks in your sides, and they will trouble you in the land in which you live. And just as I plan to do to them, I will do to you.